Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we make some great progress on our homemade vending machine. We get another motor added, we get the coil spinning, and I even try soldering for the first time.
My hands are literally shaking.
Hope you enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Where we are right now is basically we have one motor hooked up to the motor controller, which is hooked up to the Arduino, and one button is wired to trigger that motor to spin for 3 seconds. We basically need to double that. 2 motors, 2 buttons. The controller we have does support 2 motors. Okay, so let's take this button off here. We're gonna use pins 9 and 10 for buttons. So, just a brief overview of how this works. This controller has this sort of parallel set of pins here, one on this side and one on this side. Right now, we just have basically the first set wired up. So that goes to this portion that controls this motor. We're going to wire up the other set here into the Arduino and another button into ground. So I don't know what to do about this right here. Should I strip that further and solder it? You know, we have like 1 million buttons now. So let's just strip it and see if that's easier. The big question is, where did my wire strippers go? Did they get put away? Yes. Hello? Yep. Wire successfully stripped. Oops. And then we are gonna have to solder it to a longer cable when we build everything out. We might do that tomorrow, which would be my first time soldering ever. Dude, these birds are crazy. They're so loud. My wife thought I added bird sounds to the last video. I was like, no, I did not do that. Oh. We knocked the coffee, stripping the wire. Ooh, small bit of spill, but still very close to the top here. Ooh. Okay, great. We are really procrastinating on soldering as much as possible, which is not good. I'm probably gonna love it, but new things are scary, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so before we test, you can have a look here. Oh gosh. These have just been roped together almost, twisted around each other. Now, you're not gonna see whether this works or not because it's just writing a message. Yes, that worked. Okay, so now let's figure out why this motor's not spinning. Trying to think about what could have changed here. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wire up this other motor to this side, and if that works, we'll troubleshoot from there. Okay. Okay. Is it still reading? It is still reading. Oh, hold on. We don't have a power light on this side here. Oh, we wired this wrong. That'll do it. Okay, well, don't know if that's good news or bad news, but this is working. We're pressing the button and this bay is spinning. All right, now let's do something crazy. Put it back the way it was and see if it works. Again, all we're doing here is switching the right of the Arduino from this bay, which just worked, to this bay. And that is not working. So, we gotta figure out why. Okay, so I think first step is just rewire this motor to power, and then make sure it still spins. I don't know, again, what could have possibly prevented, like broken it. It's just been sitting here in the room temperature. Okay, we're plugging this in. Let's see if it spins again. Okay, it does. Well, that's confusing. Okay, so this wiring is good. This motor is good. So does that mean something on this bay is bad? Like, that's much harder to fix. Yeah, no, bummer, dude. And again, I know it's not the code or this or any of that because everything is working except this one bay here. Oh, dude, that's bad news. The other thing that I just realized, the Arduino cannot power both of these at the same time. So we have two motors coming, so Arduino into board, controlling both motors. The issue is these cables right here are taking power from the Arduino to power the board. This power in right here is only powering the motors. I'm using 5-volt pins, really the 5-volt pin on the Arduino to take power from here to whatever set of motors is wired up. I haven't wired them both up. If I tried to do that, I would not be able to do that. I guess I should return that controller and try to get another one. And then figure out a way to power the board independently. 5 volts is not any big deal, but in fact, I think USB is 5 volts. I have about another hour or so before work today. Yeah, I guess I'll try to get that return processed. Good morning. Great news. The coils arrived yesterday, and it is perfect timing because we were kind of stuck waiting on the new motor controller, but now we can work with them. Here's what they look like. They're pretty big. The individual snacks will fit right here. It did come with a housing. Remember we talked about building a housing? It did come with a housing on the back. So, you know, the idea is get the motor here, get it turning, and get the snacks of vending. So the first thing is that the coil does come with a little opening, and it's roughly the same size as this motor unit here. You know, obviously baby's first thought here is that we can just stick this in there. My only real concern is that we like break it really bad. But my thought is that if we printed something, we would use these 3 soffit openings right here. And so even if that interior section broke, I think it would be okay. I'm curious if we can just, my first thought is just carve it open. There we go. Okay, we are going to very carefully carve this opening. Just shave it. I don't know. We're experimenting here. Like, I am definitely out of my comfort zone. Okay. Dude. That worked. Oh my gosh. Moment of truth here. All right. Plugging in. Okay. Oh gosh. Nope. Bad. Holy crap. That twisted the heck out of our wires. Okay. We're gonna try this again. Ah! Stop it. It's gonna be tricky. Okay. It's gonna be tricky. So the piston or whatever it is, not piston, but the shaft is staying stationary and the rest of the motor is spinning. So I think if I hold the motor in place, the coil will spin. I think. Let's make sure it doesn't knock everything off the table. Okay, here we go. Take two. I can't. Yes, okay. Amazing. It's working. Wow, okay, so very interesting. We need something to hold this motor in place very firmly that's mounted to something very sturdy. God, it's like holding a wild animal. Ah! It moves perfectly straight, but when it's on the table, it kind of snakes to the side. It's like, it's so strange to look at. Wow. So does the motor have enough torque to turn this thing? Yes, it does. Very exciting. Very exciting. And we did all of this without getting any coffee yet. Our potential is just off the charts. Let's go get some coffee. You know, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot as I get started on this is like, why didn't I start this kind of stuff sooner? And there's a ton of reasons to unpack, but I think growing up, it just didn't occur to me that this is something that I could do. You know, build things, make things, engineer things, design things. 3D printing wasn't really a thing when I was growing up. Raspberry Pi wasn't a thing. Arduino, ChatGPT, you know, these are the things that are making it much more accessible for a lot of people across the world, and maybe that's just what I needed. I remember, you know, watching movies with really almost prodigy engineers, Jimmy Neutron, or Meet the Robinsons, Dexter's Lab. You know, it almost felt like those kids' ability to design and build things was like a superpower that they had. They were just born with it. One of the things I really want to impart on my boys is how fun learning can be and how the process of building is so good for you. There is no reason to want or expect a perfect outcome, really, ever. I really do believe that to create is kind of a hardwired portion of a satisfying life. I think that's true for a lot of people, and I think it's gonna especially be true for me and likely for my kids. So yeah, let's go build. So good. I think what we need here is something to set. It will be 2 pieces. Snack, 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 etc. Probably a housing unit to just keep it like level. Screw that in. But then coming on top of it, before you screw it in, would be like a housing that would sit very, very snug over this thing, and you would screw both of those through screw holes into the board. Actually, this is a good example of what we're talking about. So this is another project that I kind of abandoned. Well, that I abandoned. This is nailed in, but you can see like the housing, the 3D printed housing has these holes designed in, and it just goes straight in. We might come back to this another time. This is a slingshot thing where you pull this back, it knocks you an arrow. It's like a Nerf arrow on here. Fire it. Okay, no. So this would kind of go like this, and then another one right here. Not a very wide vending machine. So I think next step is take this motor to the office, get the measurements, get a prototype component printed. I'll kind of be printing throughout the day. We'll go from there. So here is the bracket that we printed yesterday. Designed this in Tinkercad. It's very simple. There's another piece. So my plan was to kind of put this on top like that, snap these together. The problem with this design is you have to slide the engine in like this, or the motor rather. And if you have to do that, it may as well just be one piece. The other thing is on the top right here, it's very thin on the top. So I don't like that. I don't like that it can bend this way so much, but I think it will allow us to test kind of what we want to do. It's like this. This is not coming all the way down. Okay, well. Maybe. All right, so we will not want this as a final component here, but we can test it like this. Screw it in, wired up. Oh, it's already wired, okay. Screw this in and plug it in and really just confirm that this holds it in place. Okay, let's reset everything. Got jostled there. There we go. You can feel it kind of gripping there. Nice. I'm sure that's loud to my wife and newborn who are sleeping right above me. All right, definitely feels secure. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this housing is sufficient to like hold that in place. So that's good. Also that we can kind of guide this from preventing that side to side movement. Thinking about the shelf, you know, again, like it's almost like what we need is a very low friction housing. Something that's going to come up and kind of hold it in place. Like maybe one thing here and one thing here. I don't know if you can see that. Like something like this, but plastic. And then we could mount it to a rail underneath. Let's try one more thing. Let's try this guy. So this came in like, when I bought this right here, this big shelf thing, these little hard cardboard elbows, I guess you would call them, came in the packaging with that big toolbox. It was like holding it in place. This might actually be what we need, so let's give that a try. Oh my God, it's perfect. Holy crap. Slowing down. Slowing down, okay. I don't know why it's slowing down. So it does kind of feel like the fewer contact points, the better here. What's happening is the motor is popped into this circle right here. And I think I'm going to build something that grips inside these, all three of these little wells. It's gonna be a lot more annoying to design. But I don't want it to spin inside this in kind of an unpredictable way. The problem is, whatever we design to come in here is gonna have to grip around that motor axle in some way. So we might have to get creative with that. We may need to glue that on. So it'll glue in, kind of like this. There'll be something in between. So, all right, let's do it. All right, friends, my phone died, so we're together on the computer now. Basically, you missed some very confused design work. Our approach is going to be just give a very wide margin for error. Yeah, so like this one, for example, down on the bottom, I'm gonna widen it out quite a bit. And we're back. So this bracket is printing, and I'm trying to think of what else we can do. Probably the wisest way to spend this time is looking into soldering. I do have some soldering equipment I picked up. We'll take a look at that. Okay, we're back. So that bracket is still printing. We've moved this crap into the garage. And we're gonna prep this space for soldering. I took the wiring off this motor. We're gonna solder the connection, test it, and if that works, we'll take those to, we'll solder those wires to much longer wires. This is us just going for it. I have watched one tutorial. One of the immediate issues is that I'm gonna need two hands. I need something to hold this in place. Okay. All right. There we go. So what do I do with our test wires? Here they are. Okay. Oh, we need something to hold this also. For our wires, just for the little test thing, I'm gonna tape it right here. So should I break it off from this spool? I think so. It feels less unwieldy. Oh dude, this is so nerve-wracking. Holy crap, okay. My hands are literally shaking. Ah! Oh man, there's so many fumes. Okay, all right. Very small test. That, ooh, dude, that's hard. That's much harder than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, that's working pretty well. You kind of like paint it with the hot tip. Sort of melting it on the tip and then brushing. Yeah, see, I'm not sure which angle we should take here. I kind of like this one. Sort of comes in. Ah, okay. Okay. Let's have a look at that. For some reason, I have this strong feeling like I'm going to ruin the whole motor somehow. There we go. Okay. Through the bottom. Okay. Now, let's just push that down. Kind of with this thing here. Just make it parallel. Okay, last set, best set here. Okay. Yeah, this is not going as smoothly as the other one did. Okay, that'd be one way to hold the motor in place. All right, baby. Holy crap, we soldered, guys. Oh, dude, it didn't even hesitate. It was like, yeah, that's a good solder. No problem. Signal coming in clean. Yes. That is it. That's what success looks like. Oh, man. Dude, I feel good about that. I feel really good about that. Dude! I'm so happy. So happy. We need to get fumigation really before we do that again. Even before we connect more wires or do the other motors. Even just a fan, like a basic fan that's blowing, would be fine. Something quiet, preferably, but yeah, that was sketchy. Tomorrow, we'll be editing, so we'll pick this up next week. Next steps are 3D printing the bracket for the end of the coil, get the motor attached, then we wire up the new controller, and then we'll do assembly. I originally thought I was going to be able to do kind of like a styrofoam or maybe cardboard assembly, but as I'm dealing with these motors and coils and stuff, I'm realizing I'm gonna need some good support. It'll probably be more like a wood. The other thing I've been thinking about, which is kind of exciting, is that because it's only 2 spirals, it's gonna be shaped more like a drawer. It's gonna lay flat almost. And then we'll just do like a top load. Plenty of work to do. I think we have most of the equipment we need, other than a fan or fumigation equipment. We'll talk soon.